You're live.
Hi, welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We're going through the town hall number 78 with the Status Network. So first of all, we're going to go through People Ops with Steph.
Thanks, Angel. At People Ops, we've been really busy with tool updates recently, and you might have noticed that because of the insane amount of Discuss posts that Terry and I have been posting the last few days. So the two main things are Picongro. It's the feedback module from Picon. So the interface is the same that you've always seen for the engagement service. And we really believe that increasing the frequency and the intentionality of feedback will do a lot for our ability to collaborate and be effective as an organization. So if you have any concerns or doubts, please ping Terry or myself. But otherwise, I'd really encourage you to finish filling in your profile. If you haven't yet, the first rounds of feedback went out today to your email. Please give it a try. Let us know what you think, and we will take it from there and keep on tweaking the tool to be as relevant as possible for the work we do and the way that we want to work together. Next slide, please. Right. And we're also changing our ATS. Our ATS is the system that we use to track hiring and sourcing. We've been recently realizing that the amount of friction of using Greenhouse for the hiring managers was quite big, and it kept on slowing down a lot of the processes. And even giving a little bit more training or trying to tweak the access levels didn't help. Additionally, it's not like even the favorite tool of recruiters, and they were raising the price to be double than what we used to pay. So we decided to switch to another ATS, and we selected Pinpoint, which is constructed in a much more intuitive way. It should keep on having all the cool features of Greenhouse. So the reporting is quite good, scorecards are possible. And currently, we are migrating all our old data into the new tool, which will go live this week. We're going to have a new careers site, and you're going to see some small changes into your workflows, but we're going to be there to help you out. In this, I would like to thank everyone that has been helping on this project, because it's been a massive undertaking, in fact. So massive thanks to Serhan for doing all the checks of security and also taking care of the migration together with the Pinpoint and Greenhouse teams right now. Jingo and Jacob have been helping out with changing the website, organizing the new links, putting the new site live. And Ned and Johnny are going to be working on the branding and the marketing and the copy of it. So huge thanks to all of you. And if you have any questions, just ping Terry or myself. And that would be me. Next, Angel.
There you go. Finally, I'll mute myself. So a quick hiring update. We've got 17 live roles at the moment, but we do have offers out for 2 of them. So the first one is for a protocol engineer with the VAC team. So massive thanks for the entire VAC team. So Oscar, Hanno, Sanaz, thanks for interviewing and being so quick for all the feedback. And then we've got another offer out for a senior business development manager for the Nimbus team. So again, thanks to Carl, thanks to Jacek, and thanks to Sahari for helping out with the interviews for those. Most of the roles are progressing really well with all the interviews. So hopefully throughout the next couple of months, we'll have a lot more offers out. And again, thanks to Carly and Dustin for their referrals. So referrals are awesome, guys. So if you want to ping me or ping the rest of the team, that's great. I think it's like $5,000 for any successful referral that gets hired after their 3-month probation. So yeah, I mean, we are continuing to grow, but we also do need the right people to align with our values. And anniversaries, which are also good. So we've got Oscar coming in at 4 years, Corey for 3 years, Dustin with us for 3 years now, Andrew has been with us for 2 years, Sasha for 1, and Diana for 1 as well. So thanks, guys, for sticking around. It's cool to have you with us in the project and see it grow. And we've got a few new contributors. So we've got Anthony in the developer and desktop. We've got Saba in research engineers in Dagger. We got Fred as a security engineer with security, and Monica in people ops as one of our consultants. So yeah, that's the update from my side. So for next, it's going to go on to Andreas for mobile.
Thank you, Angel. So what we've been working in the previous week, we just released last week 1.15. So that's available on both stores, and I think it will be available, if not, it's already available on F-Droid as well. I include some of the performance improvements that we've been working on and pin messages. Other things that we've been working on is communities, and we are also getting ready for AIP 1559. The next release will be 1.16, 1.16, yeah, and will include the AIP 1559 changes, and we'll include also some other features, message deletion, for example, and we'll continue working on communities. We're going to probably also re-enable basic support for editing and canceling transactions, because that's a feature that has been missing. It's not going to be polished yet. That's something that we're doing following releases. Yeah, that's all from mobile. Thank you very much. Back to you, Angel.
Cool. Thanks so much for that. Next, we're going to go on to desktop with Yuri.
All right, so for desktop, we have now a release candidate for beta 11. It has some cool new features, also some significant performance improvements, and a lot of fixes. So first thing is that we do like in desktop team to iterate on features. So you will often find a lot of things on the advanced settings that you need to enable if you want to see the whole thing. This, just have in mind that this is sometimes things that are still being worked on, or they're not enabled by default for particular reasons. So for example, the online users feature, it's because it needs a UI component for the user to set the state. So that's why things like that are hidden by default, disabled by default. So next slide. One new thing we have is that you can set up the type of status node that you want. So the default that's used right now everywhere is this light node. So it's very low bandwidth, but slightly less private. Then you have the normal modes, which is it uses a bloom filter, so you get slightly worse bandwidth, but better privacy. And then there's the full node mode, which it does subscribe to everything and forwards every message. And you can see below there's this chart. So I captured that in little snitch to try to compare the different modes. And just have in mind this is a logarithmic. So that means that those spikes you see in full are actually high. They're actually like megabytes. But below that, they're very light. It's like a few kilobytes. So that is a difference that you will get if it's like light, normal, or full. My experience, it looks like we can probably go with normal for most users in a desktop context. Then the next slide. This BT11 looks like right now. So it's particular for communities. There's a lot of new things and improvements. So you can see we do have the categories on the left, and we also have this new thing, which is the member list and their online states on the right. So it's something that needs to be enabled. This works on the community level, meaning if you're a community, and if you have this enabled, then members of that community can see if you're online or not within that community. Then next slide. We also have this user list on the public chats, but it works differently. So it's kind of fake, in a sense, because it works based on activity instead, but still gives the user a sense of who's there or not. But if someone can actually be online, it doesn't show. It depends if they're actually active or not in that particular channel. Then next slide. So again, we'd like to iterate on this thing. So we did about this online users feature and experimental. It's disabled by default because we need this feature that's going to be done in the next release. So we'll include this widget that you can actually set the state to online or offline. Then next slide, another example is the search. So you have some search now in there. Currently searches the current channel. And we have a lot of improvements on the way, so it will be able to search not just the channel in question, but the whole thing, communities, chats, and so on, and give you a much better result. And that's it for desktop. Please, the next slide. Please, check out the releases and give it a try, and let us know what do you think.
Cool. Thanks, Rui. That looks really cool. Looking forward to going through that link. So for next is growth and retention, and Alec will be taking us through this.
Thank you, Angel. Okay, let's like always start with app installs. In the last 30 weeks, we had almost 1.6 million app installs. So it's over 7.4 thousand app installs per day. And over 99.5% of those app installs happened through Google Play, and 98% of those on smartphones. On the next slide, we'll see that there are over 600,000 Google Play users with Status app installed on their devices, which is cool, by the way. It's twice as many as at the beginning of this year, and over 18 times more than at the end of July last year. So there is growth. Let's move to the next slide. In the last 4 weeks, we had over 14,000 daily active users, very often exceeding 15,000 and sometimes even 16,000. In general, on average, we are having around 12,500 daily active users this year. A year ago, it was less than 1,000. Okay, so we retained over 600,000 users. We get 12,500 daily active users, but where do they come from? So let's see on the next slide. So our users come from literally all over the world, but at this point in time, we get the most users from Tanzania, Brazil, Colombia. People from Mali eagerly install the app, which is cool. Over 40% of users come from South America, and the list is long, as we welcome everyone. But for now, let's move to the summary on the next slide. So far this year, we had almost 1.6 million app installs. We are having over 12,000 daily active users out of over 600,000 users with the app installed on their devices. Thank you. Back to you, Angel.
Cool. Thanks so much for that, Alec. It's really amazing. Like the growth in daily active users looks great. So next we'll move on to Jakob, who's going to talk about security and infrastructure with us.
Yeah. Hey, people. Can I get the next slide? We don't have anything from security, although I am doing some security-related work, which we'll talk about in a second. First thing first, we're trying to make our website a bit closer to our principles. So, for example, we've removed the one single cookie that we've been setting through Fathom, which was doing very basic counting of visits. The cookie wasn't actually profiling anything. It was just checking whether someone was a return visitor or a new one. But we've removed it because it didn't give that much better data, and we just don't want to set any cookies. I'm also researching getting rid of Cloudflare because it is something that people ask about, and especially considering our principles regarding privacy and transparency. It will require a bunch of work. At least we want to completely get rid of it. But if we want to get rid of it for the main site, it is quite doable. It will probably happen. I'm not sure when, but it will probably happen. We'll have a fix for QR codes for the deep linking for Android, which wasn't loading properly. And we dropped surnames from the status about page. Some people have complained about that, and rightly so. Should have done that a while ago. In fleets movements, we've completely migrated the Paramount Nimbus test fleet to Hetzner to save a bunch of money, because AWS is very, very expensive, especially if you want to really powerful 1-core, 2-core machines. And we've finished setup of beacon nodes on Windows. There's also Arthur working on setting up testnet Pyrmont, if I remember correctly, or Prater on the macOS hosts in order to cover all 3 platforms, all the major ones. I don't know why anyone would want to run Beacon Node with validators on Windows or macOS, but I pick your poison, I guess. I've refactored the distribution of validators to be a Python script for managing fleet validators because it was just far too slow on Windows, and it's just easier to manage this way. In other things, I'm refactoring how our internal VPN works, and I want to make it more secure by essentially making firewall rules more strict, and that's still work ongoing. But in addition to that, we also want to create an internal VPN just for accessing internal services like our BI tools or infrastructure tools, which will probably use zero tier, but not fully sure yet. And that's also partially related to the Cloudflare certificate thing, because we can't really do internal services behind VPN with Cloudflare. So we would need our own certificates anyway. So that's connected. I also made a PR to console by HashiCorp to make alerts for services a bit less jarring, so to have like a step down between warning and critical services, which might get into 1.10.2, I think. We'll see, possibly. And there's going to be an article about status nodes coming out on our Status IM blog soonish, related to the status node program that Johnny is leading. And that should make it clear for people what status node really is and how it works. That's about it. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Jacob. It's really cool. It seems like you've been really busy. I'm looking forward to checking out the status nodes article that's coming out soon. Next, we'll move on to Johnny with marketing and community.
Thanks, Angel. So as always, we continue to get a lot of coverage in Latin America, working with our PR team down there. Eduardo and Juan David and Alan have been doing a great job. You can see some of the articles here on the right. For the mobile application, as Jakob said, we're preparing to kick off a node program that will kick off next week. And the goal is really just to raise awareness about what nodes are and the role they play in the network, and kind of prime the community and people ahead of any incentivization that we roll into that, making it very clear that there are no crypto economic incentives baked into it yet, but just letting people know that is on the way. And then the team's just been doing a lot of work in preparation for the eventual launch of the communities feature. Excuse me. So there's been a lot of like user research and conversations, but we're also investigating a partner program to help communities on board. We're putting together a potential moderator educator program, so helping communities and their moderators understand how the feature works, how to be a good moderator, just so when communities come in, there's good conversation, how to deal with spam, things like that. And then finally today, a few of us are meeting to just kick off some work around potential airdrop functionality, because that is a pretty good marketing tool for communities to recruit their own members into status. And then lastly, we've started some message testing and looking into some information architecture for the eventual refresh and update of the website. And when we do that, we will obviously roll out new assets and comms across all of our digital channels. On the growth side, so Simon is working on can you go back? Simon's getting ready to launch this Earn application. He's set up a DAO, which is pretty cool, or setting up a DAO, which is cool, so we can get other projects involved. And there, he's been working with Carly and Simona, which is really awesome. And then on the research side of things, finalizing some updates to the VAC, WAPU, and DAP Connect website. Well, for VAC, we've got new branding and new web properties. WAPU, same thing. And then working with Frank on a website and product positioning for DAP Connect. Next slide. So on the community side of things, as mentioned, Simona's been doing a lot of user research for phase 1 of the community's work. And there's already, work underway in phase 2A and scoping out 2B. And then we'll planning for conversations when we kick off dog fooding. Local engagement. So in Latin America, Juan David and Eduardo have been running a program called Crypto Atelier. We're working with an ambassador on a landing page just to explain the project and just kind of get people involved. And the design looks really nice. We'll share it when we can. Sorry, so this project was started by Juan David in Colombia, just as a way to engage artists. And it's been going so well that Eduardo is now adapting that and working on it in Brazil. And yeah, prepping for an exciting engagement with Super Rare to support artists. Just, Super Rare has been kind of a leading team in the NFT and art space, and got a good relationship with them. So we want to work with them on that. Excuse me. And then in terms of events, yeah, Simona and team were obviously at ETHCC. We were the community and comms partner, which was great. We've been doing a lot of work positioning Status as, this crypto social tool. And there was just a lot of conversation around crypto social and that trend kind of moving forward from Vitalik and a bunch of other people. So it's really good to see that conversation put forward and Status kind of be at the front and center of all that. There's going to be a Waku workshop and then some additional exciting Waku-based announcements coming out soon. Yeah. So that's it. Back to you, Angel. Oh, sorry. I apologize. There are a quick update on the ambassadors. Thanks, Jinho, for putting this in. We've had 30 completed tasks in July, which is great. We've got new ambassadors in India, Turkey, and the US. And one of our really passionate ambassadors in Colombia held a meetup introducing crypto and Status, which is cool. And then, as always, the ambassadors have helped out with translation of pretty much everything, of the website, of the app, of the quarterly report, of our content. So yeah, thanks to everyone, and especially the ambassadors in the community. Now back to you, Angel. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks so much, Johnny. It sounds like there's a lot of exciting stuff coming out. I'm looking forward to the airdrops. Again, thanks everyone for listening and tuning in. And I hope you join in for the next one.